Okay, welcome back to the Battlefield Show Overtime. We're going to be talking about several topics here. Let's start off with the defibrillators, which is a new equipment that is added to the support class that has a little bit different mechanics on there that we'll try to educate you on. The other thing is controller mapping changes have been added, and it looks like they have been reset for a lot of people as well. There's a little when you start up the game, there's some sort of a message scrolling across saying to go check your controller mapping, and there's some issues with that. So maybe EnergizedNight can educate that on us. So let's start off with that. So the defibrillators, I know Gravity, you've been talking about this a lot. What is it about, and can you educate us about like how people should attempt to revive people? Maybe there's different ways to revive people.
Sure. So there is this essentially a quick TIL for the day. There are two different types of defibrillators now in the game. There are the ones that you inherently have as a medic or as a squad leader or a squad mate to res your team. And those are the ones you walk up to a teammate and you hit the E button and it plays the animation and it revives your teammate with either full health if you're a medic class or have 50% health if you're anybody else. However, the medic class also now comes with defibrillators, the actual item, the gadget now. So those are actually different in that you can pull those out. You can charge them to a maximum beep, and then you can zap enemies for a kill or downed teammates. However, the gadget actually works like BF4 defibs, where if you pull them out and you don't charge them, you're only going to res your teammate for like 20 health instead of the full 100. The lesson here being, if you're a medic and you have your gadget of the defibs, charge your defibs before you res a teammate. Simple as that.
Okay, so Falk has some specific traits. How does that affect others in the support class like Irish, right? Because Falk can revive you by pressing E or whatever button to revive on a controller. Do you know what is that? EnergizedNight? Is it A or something?
X.
Okay, sorry. And do that to revive a full health, like a quick revive.
Yes.
So kind of go through the differences between those support characters here.
Well, it would work the same because they would all fall under the medic, because I think all of the medics actually get the defibs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be the exact same. It would, as long as you walk up to a teammate and hit the E button, that is the animation to revive for that class or for that character. So it's going to give you either 50% health if you're a squad mate, and 100% health if that squad mate or teammate is a medic reviving you. The difference being is if we pull out the gadget of the defibs itself and use those to revive a teammate, those can either give you 20% health revive, or your teammate 20% health on revive, or 100, depending on how much you charge them. So one is guaranteed a certain amount. The other one is a difference depending on how long you charge it.
So let's stick to this as an example, because I'm kind of confused on it. Let's stick to the E animation or the X animation. If you're Irish and you do the E or X animation, are you resing at full health?
If you're Irish and you hit E or X to revive, you're reviving
anybody.
At full health.
Yeah, anybody. Not anybody, but
if you're reviving
Angel,
a teammate, yeah, you're
Irish and you're doing the E or X animation, are you reviving a full health?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, and then as Falk and you're doing the E animation, it says you're doing it at full health, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's where I'm confused on. Do you guys agree with this, Zena, EK? Because I feel like, what's the point of Falk's trait then?
Falcon, when manually equipping the defibs, that's when the trait takes place. at that point.
Or anybody.
So you can, if you wanted to,
change.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you could run around with those out and do a quick zap, and I'm pretty sure that's a full HP zap if you're playing Falc.
I think EaseK's right. I think a quick zap with the regular defibs will also revive to full health.
As Falc.
Yeah.
As Falc. Mm-hmm. That's her trait. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, because I've noticed that a lot. Getting revived, sometimes I'm at 20, sometimes at 100. But since there's a whole bunch of Falcs out there, like sometimes I can't even notice. I'm just 100% ready to go. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I hope that was helpful for everybody on that. Let's get into the controller schemes, mapping schemes. Energized Night, I hear that there's some resets and there's some changes that they could possibly make to improve. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so when the patch came through, they added another class gadget into each of the classes, right? So they needed to find a place to put the button on the controller. Well, there's not many places you can put another button on the controller with how they already had the game. So they had the brilliant idea of coupling together two actions, which is fine. That's okay. You can do that. However, the actions they chose to couple together are switch weapon and T, your T function, your attachment function on your gun. So the T system, right? They coupled those together. Oh. Now hear me out. If I want to switch my weapon, I just tap my normal button to switch weapons, right? That's fine. That's normally how that works. But now if I want to change my attachments, I have to hold that same button, and then I have to customize it. That is also okay typically. However, by putting it on the same button, that's usually mapped to Y on Xbox or triangle on a PlayStation controller. That's not a good feeling when you're doing that. So your right hand is responsible for holding a button, and then your left hand has to go down to the analog, to the D-pad down there, and that's how you can change what you want to use. But this means you cannot move around while you're changing your stuff. You have to stand completely still, hold Y, and then change what you want to change on the D-pad. It's a terrible feeling. Before how it was they were decoupled, so they could be on different buttons. So what it was before was you hold right bumper, and you leave your left thumb on the analog stick to move around, and then you use your right thumb to switch between the attachments with the front-facing buttons, A, B, X, and Y, or square, circle, triangle, and X on the PlayStation, which was much better. I could keep moving around, and I could change everything with one hand. Now I have to use both my hands to change things, which is just a very awkward and terrible feeling. What they could do, a simple solution, would be to decouple those and let us, the user, decide where we would put those two things to like interact, to inputs. For some reason, they decided to make them the same input. So let's say I want to change it back to changing my T system with my right bumper. That would also put my switch weapon on right bumper. I cannot change those independently now. They are on the same button.
Do you have a controller there with you?
Yeah, I got one with me.
Can you show us like what it would, what you would want to change?
So what I would want is just the old system. The old system was this top bumper up here, right? This top
your mic. I can't hear you.
This top one up here. I would hold this. I would hold this in up here, and then use these 4 buttons to change my attachments while being able to move around my left analog stick. Right? That's what the hell old system was. Now. I have to hold Y and then use the D-pad down here to change what I want to change, which means I can't move. I have to stand perfectly still. I could play like this, but that's disgusting. So, yeah, that's how it is now. And then again, if I want to change things, that is normally my switch weapon button is my Y. So yeah, that's fantastic. And then they also, with that scrolling thing you mentioned, that's scrolling at the main menu, telling you about checking your layouts. If you had at all customized your inputs, it would make it so that way the keys, the inputs were doing multiple things at the same time. So they want you to go to your weapon mapping, your button mapping, switch it to default, and then change your inputs to what they were before. Just basically do a quick reset. So once you do that, everything should be working as normal. That being said, normal is terrible. Yeah, if the simple fix is just decouple those things and let us choose what to do with them. That's the simple fix. I don't know why they decided, of all things, to couple together switching weapon and modifying your attachments. Of all the things to couple together, that's not the one I would have done. So
I see. Any developers reach out?
Not that I've seen. I've seen a few controller players tweet about it, but I haven't. Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. All they really said is just telling us to make it work as they intended. How did they get us there? But as in terms of changing the coupling of those two actions, I haven't seen anything about that yet.
Gotcha. And Gravity and Zena, I presume I play on mouse and keyboard. I presume you guys both play on mouse and keyboard.
Have you tried using a mouse and keyboard, EK?
No, I haven't.
Funny enough, I've actually played 2042 on controller a handful of times.
Okay.
So I can actually somewhat relate to what EK is talking about. And actually, the way you're describing it, that sounds awful. Like changing your attachments. I wonder if like they definitely need to do the custom stuff like you're talking about. But I mean, putting it on like maybe the ping button or
what was before
the right click stick, like the right analog click animation. I don't know what that does, to be honest, but something that is ridiculous to put it on change weapon.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for that. That'll wrap up this episode of Overtime. Stick around. We're going to talk about some really interesting stuff about vehicles. Come up next. Check out the next video there. Thank you guys so much for watching.